Hey everyone. All right, just make sure we're set up with the camera. Cool. Hey everyone. Thanks for being here. We're gonna get started right away. So today I don't have a model, it's just me. So I'll be doing the practice while I'm instructing you through it. Like always, if you have any questions, feel free to type it in the chat, the live chat, and I can either get to it while I'm teaching, I'll come in and check, or I can answer at the end of class. So whenever I have the opportunity. Hi Kelly, good morning. Thanks for being here. All right, so we're gonna get started in a seated position. If you need to elevate the hips because sitting on the floor is a little bit difficult, go ahead and grab some bolsters or some pillows or something to sit on top of. That makes it a little bit more comfortable to find that straight spine. And we might use blocks. You might need to use some blocks throughout the practice, so you can go ahead and grab those if you have any available. If not, I'll offer modifications without props if you don't have props, so don't be worried. Okay, all right. So my name is Monica. For those of you who don't know me, I'm an Ashtanga Yoga teacher and practitioner. I also practice meditation, so I incorporate some of that into the beginning of practice, which is why I like to start in a comfortable seated position. So just a quick intro. I won't get any more detailed into who I am. Okay, so you can come with your hands on your knees and gently close the eyes. Taking a deep breath in and a slow, steady breath out. Just come into the body, feeling that deep breath settle you into the body. And then let the breath be natural. Allowing the breath to spontaneously move in and out through the nose. Just observing as this process happens automatically, as the breath automatically moves in through the nose and through the throat, and then back out through the throat and through the nose. Watching this process, watching this pathway of the breath as it touches the insides of the nostrils, touches the throat, feeling those sensations. Become the breath that's moving in and out, bringing all your attention as you narrow the attention to the breath, making the focus more precise, making the mind more precise by focusing on one thing. And as the mind wanders, gently bring the mind back into that one object of meditation, of the breath moving in and out through the nose. So in meditation and yoga, we work to strengthen that pathway back to our object of meditation, back to that one pointed focus. So our mind will wander because that's the nature of the mind, but we're trying to train the mind and train that pathway back to that one pointed focus. To see things as they truly are. So if our focus is just on that one point, on the breath, moving in and out through the nose, our experience of the breath will be less distorted by past experiences coming into the mind, less distorted by other distractions going on around us. It's just that one pointed focus, the experience of that one thing as it is. So we're strengthening that in the mind as a pattern in the mind. Keep bringing the attention back to the breath, moving in and out through the nostrils. Now we're going to gently start to deepen the breath. So making the breath a little bit more active, more controlled, so moving away from the natural breath. And slowing down the breath. So within an asana practice, the breath remains as the object of meditation, but we start to lengthen, deepen, and control the breath so that we can match the breath to the movements we're making with our body. So the asanas become a way for us to more deeply and more intimately experience the breath as our body makes different shapes. So we'll establish the breath now. You can keep your hands on your knees and you can keep the eyes closed and start to lengthen and deepen the breath. So we lengthen the breath by slowing it down. So slowly breathing in and then slowly allowing the breath to move out through the nostrils. So you're controlling the pace at which you allow the breath to come in and the pace that the breath comes out, slowing it down as much as possible. So this is where the control aspect of the breath comes in. And we also make the breath more full, more active by deepening the breath, by taking more breath in and then fully breathing out, so completely emptying the lungs. So just finding that edge of your lung capacity, of your breath capacity. How much can you breathe in at a time? And can you fully empty the lungs and fully breathe out to completely empty everything that's in the lungs, the entire breath. So that when you breathe in, it's a fresh breath coming into the lungs, into the body. So take a few breaths here. If you want to count your breaths, sometimes that's useful. Count maybe up to a count of 4 on the inhale and try to match that same length with the exhale. So the length of the inhales match the length of the exhale. So we're bringing balance into the breath in this way, into our systems. And if you feel like you have more capacity than a count of 4, then maybe moving it up to a count of 5. And I'm going to allow you, I'm not going to count for you. I want you to stay within the pace and within the counts that's comfortable for you. The more you practice a breathing practice and an asana practice, the longer your breath can become. So we're all kind of at different levels here. So just keep it at your own pace. Counting in for 4 and counting out for 4. Stabilizing and steadying the breath. Again, if the mind wanders into something else, gently bring the mind back into the breath. We'll just be here for a few more breaths. So noticing if you can make each breath a little bit longer, a little bit more controlled than the breath before. And this is also a good opportunity to check in with yourself and your system and how you're feeling today. The breath is often a very good reflection of the state we're in, the state our nervous system is in, the state our emotions in. So using that as a guiding point, as a checking in point. And then whatever you find, allow that information to inform the rest of your practice. So if you feel really agitated or you feel like your energy is low, then take that into consideration as you move through the practice. But if you feel like you're really energized, then, maybe put a little bit more effort into your practice today. So if you do feel like you're a little bit agitated or you're not really you can't really get settled into the body in this moment, just know that that is the point of yoga. That's the point of regulating the breath and bringing that even inhale, even exhale, that controlled breath in and out. We manipulate our systems through the breath. So even if you are a little bit agitated, try to come into that breath and try to control the breath so that we can manipulate the nervous system. We can manipulate our mental, emotional, and physical states to feel more centered and more balanced. Good. Take one last round of breath. Doesn't matter how long the breath is. It's not a competition for who can get the longest breath. It's about making the breath steady And matching the length of the inhales to the length of the exhales. Okay, after your last exhale, we'll bring the palms to heart center. Keeping the eyes closed, if that still feels comfortable for you. Settling into the body. We'll take an Om to just further initiate the space of this practice. So you can join me or you can just listen. Taking a deep breath in through the nose. Exhale the hands back down to the knees and gently open the eyes. Okay, so whenever you're ready, we'll make our way to standing into the top of the mat. So if you need to grab any blocks or props or anything, feel free to do that now as we get settled to the top of our mat. Just gonna. Okay. So coming into Samasthiti, equal standing posture. So remember, if you have any questions throughout the practice, you can go ahead and type them in the chat. So bringing the big toes together, and you can slightly separate the heels. This helps to bring some space into the lower back. So the sit bones move away from each other a little bit more. And before we start moving, I want you to really connect into the feet, into the connection that you have with the ground. This is really important for all of the standing postures in Ashtanga Yoga. So finding that connection to the ground. Our foundation, the posture starts from the ground up. So creating a solid foundation is really important for the entire integrity of the posture. Feeling into that connection where the bottom of the feet are touching the mat. Becoming aware of all of those contact points. So learning to direct the attention to a single point. Right now, that single point is the bottom of the feet. And feeling into the sensations there. So the sensation of the entire weight of the body moving down through the feet. And how that's creating a sense of grounding, a sense of stabilizing in a physical way. And then trying to equalize the amount of weight moving down through each foot. So maybe you have a little bit more weight into one of the feet. So just trying to correct that and come back into the center line. So this state of balance is always, we're always moving in and out of. It's not a state that we're gonna find perfectly one day and then we'll just be there forever. And that's not the point anyways. So in any balancing posture, like this can be considered a balancing posture even though we're just standing. Finding that center point and then just noticing and being okay with the fact that you're gonna move in and out of that center point. So this is the point, this is the purpose of coming into this practice. So finding our way back into the center, back into a state of balance. And then engaging through the legs to further establish this foundation and stabilize this Samasthiti position. Pressing down through the feet. Continue allowing the weight of the body to move down through the legs and through the feet. And then tucking the tailbone under and pulling the lower belly. So don't allow a back bend to come into the lower back. So pulling in the lower belly, dropping the sit bones down so that the lower back finds some length and some space as the pubic bone lifts up. Lengthening through the spine so you feel a sense of ease up through the spine, through each vertebrae. You're creating some space, reaching up through the crown of the head and rolling the shoulders down and back as you gently lift the center of the chest up towards the ceiling. Relax the shoulders, allow the neck to be free. Take a deep breath in through the nose. And a slow breath out through the nose, always in and out through the nose. And we'll start with Surya Namaskara A, Sun Salutation A. Inhale, bringing the arms over your head, palms facing up to come into an external rotation of the shoulders. The palms can touch or they can be separated if you have anything going on with the neck or if you have really tight shoulders. Exhale, fold forward with a long spine, and then when you need to, you can round the back and bend the knees if you need to. Bring the hands to the mat and relax the neck. Inhale into half lift. So you can keep the fingertips on the floor and just reach the chest forward. Move the shoulders away from the ears. Bend the knees if you need to. Exhale, bend the knees a lot so that the palms can get flat on the mat. You're going to step back into a plank position. Shoulders over your wrist and a straight line from the top of the head to the heels. You can lower the knees to modify. Take a deep breath in. And then as you bend your elbows for Chaturanga Dandasana, don't let the hips sink down. Keep the hips in line with the shoulders. Come all the way down to the floor. Inhale into upward facing dog. So the modification is you just lift the chest. Press into the hands. Press into the tops of the feet. Exhale into tabletop. Tuck the toes and you reach the hips up, back into downward facing dog. We'll hold it here for 5 breaths. 1, pressing into the palms, spreading the fingers wide. 2, reaching the hips up and back. 3, you can bend the knees here if you need to, reaching the sit bones up and moving the heels down towards the floor. 1 more breath. 5, inhale, walk up to the top, feet together into a half lift. Reach the chest forward. Exhale, fold over the legs. Inhale, arms over your head, palms touch, gazing up. Exhale, Samasthiti. So remember, you can also have the palms separated if you need to. Again, inhale, reaching the arms over your head. Keep tucking the tailbone under, keep pressing down through the feet. Exhale, long spine, and then when you reach the limit of your flexibility in the hamstrings, relax the muscles in the back, rounding the back, and bringing the hands to the floor. Relax the neck. Inhale into half lift, reach the chest forward, pull the lower belly and create space through the front body. Exhale, step back into a plank, strong legs, pull the lower belly in, lower the knees if you need to, and bend the elbows, slowly lowering down to the floor. Keeping the shoulders pointing forward instead of pointing down. Inhale, you can do the modification. You can come all the way up into upward facing dog. Straight arms, relax the hips down. Exhale into downward facing dog. You can move through tabletop. Tucking the toes and reaching the hips up and back. Steady breath. So reconnecting to that focus, that one pointed focus on the breath, moving in and out through the nose, deepening and lengthening the breath, matching the length of the inhales to the length of the exhales. And your drishti point is somewhere on the top of the legs, so the knees, the thighs, or if you have the flexibility in the top of the spine, well, in the neck, in the cervical spine, in the neck, you can gaze all the way up into the navel. Take 1 more breath here. Inhale, walk up to the top. If your feet can't come all the way into between the hands, that's okay. Just walk up to where you can, and then meet your hands at your feet for half lift. Exhale, fold over the legs, relax the neck. Inhale, arms over your head, palms touch, gazing up or gazing forward. Exhale into Samasthiti. Good. Let's do 1 more of those. And remember to really come into the external rotation of the shoulders. So you're rolling the shoulders forward and the palms are facing up. Inhale, moving the shoulders away from the ears and gazing up. Exhale, fold forward, long spine, long spine, long spine. And when you can anymore, round the back. Relax the muscles along the spine. Inhale into half lift. Lengthening. Exhale, find your plank. Take an extra breath here if you need to. Exhale as you lower down. Finish the exhale at the bottom of the plank. Inhale into upward facing dog. Press the shoulders down. Exhale into downward facing dog. If you can also roll over the toes to come into that downward facing dog transition. Find the breath. 1, pulling in the lower belly. 2, really hollowing out the lower belly and breathing into the rib cage. So breathing into the upper part of the torso and allowing the rib cage to expand and contract for the inhales and the exhales. 4, 5, good. Inhale, walk up to the top, feet together into half lift. Exhale, fold over the legs. Inhale, arms over your head, palms touch. Exhale into Samasthiti. Good. Okay, let's move into Surya Namaskara B. So this one's the same as A, but we add some postures at the beginning, at the end, and in between. Okay, we start with Utkatasana, chair pose. You're going to bend the knees and lift the chest. Pull the lower belly in, gaze up, or again, gaze forward if you have anything going on with the neck. Exhale, fold forward, start to straighten the leg as much as you can. Relax the neck. Inhale into half lift. Exhale, this part you already know, step back into plank, lower the knees if you need to, and Chaturanga Dandasana, pull the lower belly in, strong core. Inhale into upward facing dog. Press the shoulders down and make sure the shoulders are over the wrist. Exhale into downward facing dog. Okay, the next new posture is Virabhadrasana. You're going to bring the right foot forward as close as you can in between the hands. So if it ends up somewhere here, that's okay. Lower the back heel. Find your knee over your right ankle. Pull the lower belly in. Inhale to come up. Bring the arms over your head. Gaze up or gaze forward with the palms apart. And we're going to come right back down. Exhale. Bring the hands to the floor. You can tuck that back toe. Palms flat. Inhale, step back into a plank. Lower the knees if you need to. Chaturanga Dandasana. Exhale. Inhale, upward facing dog. Remember, halfway is always an option. Or arms all the way straight. Exhale into downward facing dog. Same thing on the other side. Bring the left foot forward as close as you can in between the hands. Lower the back heel. Right leg is strong. Pull the lower belly in. Inhale, lift the chest, arms over your head, bend into the right knee. Find your breath. Exhale as you bring the hands down. Inhale as you step back into a plank. Exhale as you bend the elbows. Keep the shoulders away from the ears. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale into downward facing dog. We're holding here for 5 breaths. If you need a little bit more of a break, you can come into child's pose. Bring the knees to the floor and the chest to the thighs. Good. Forehead can rest on the mat. 2, come back into the breath. Stabilize the breath. 3, 4, 5, making your way back into downward facing dog. If you were in child's pose, on the inhale, walk the feet to the top into the half lift. Lengthening. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, we're going to come back into the chair pose, Utkatasana. Bend the knees, lift the chest, pull the lower belly in. Exhale into Samasthiti. Good. So, notice how I always come back to that, pull the lower belly in, which is really important to stabilize that deep inner core. Pulling the lower belly in towards the spine, it'll become a little bit easier the more that you do this. And also the more you get the connection to the pelvic floor. So engaging Mula Bandha, engaging to the pelvic floor, which if you're not familiar with this, kind of requires a whole explanation, which maybe I can get into another class. But if you are familiar, connect to the pelvic floor and pull the lower belly in. This helps to stabilize that deep inner core that helps to stabilize the entire body. Okay, let's do one more of Surya Namaskara B. Inhale, bend the knees, lift the chest, Utkatasana, chair pose. Exhale, fold forward, relaxing all the muscles in the back to come into the forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, step back into a plank, strong plank, and chaturanga dandasana. Keep the elbows in towards the ribs. If you want to hover to challenge yourself, you can. Inhale, upward facing dog. Press the shoulders down, lift the chest up and forward. Exhale into downward facing dog. Bring the right foot forward, lower the back heel, stabilize the posture, strong legs, pull the lower belly in. Inhale, lift the chest, arms over your head. Square the shoulders forward. Exhale, come back down, step back into a plank, take a deep breath in. Exhale, chaturanga dandasana. Inhale, upward facing dog. Engage through the legs and lift the thighs if it's possible. Exhale into downward facing dog. Other side. Left foot forward, lower the back heel, find your foundation, connect to your legs. Inhale, lift the chest. Arms over your head, pull the lower belly and lift the rib cage away from the hips. Exhale, come back down, find your plank on the inhale. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog or child's pose. 1. Steady breaths. 2. 3. Find some relaxation wherever it's possible. 4. 5. Good. Gazing forward. Inhale, make your way back up to the top of the mat. Feet together, half lift. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, chair pose, bend the knees, lift the chest. Exhale into Samasthiti. Good. Okay, moving on into Padangusthasana. Bring the feet hip width distance apart. Inhale, we're gonna fold forward and wrap the peace fingers, your pointer finger and your middle finger around the big toes. Bend the knees if you need to. Look up and lengthen. Lengthen through the spine. Exhale, fold over the legs. So you're gonna come into like a slightly rounded back as you relax the muscles along the back and fold into the pelvis, into the pelvic bowl. So pulling in the lower belly, making more space to find that rotation in the pelvis to come into the forward fold and lengthen through the hamstrings. 3, relax the neck and keep moving the shoulders away from the ears. 4, see if you can shift the weight to the tops of the feet. 5, inhale, look up and lengthen, exhale there. Inhale, slide the hands underneath the feet. Bend the knees if you need to, as much as you need to. So your toes are up against the wrist crease. Inhale, look up. Exhale, fold forward. Good. Settle into the posture. 1, if you can, you straighten the legs and engage through the quads. 2, 3, shoulders away from the ears, keep pulling in through the lower belly. 4, strong legs. 5, inhale, lift the chest, exhale there. Inhale, come all the way back up into Samasthiti, which you know is top of the mat, feet together, equal standing pose. Let's come into Utthita Trikonasana. Inhale, triangle pose. Step the right foot out, so the distance between your feet is like the distance of one leg. Turn the right toes out. Inhale, bring the arms out to the side. So you have a couple options here. As you exhale, you're gonna bring the right hand down to the thigh and slide it down the leg up to the point where you can't slide anymore without compromising the posture, like bringing your chest forward. Keep the chest open and slide down as much as you can to keep that position through the torso. If you can, you grab the big toe, Or you can also put your hand on a block. You put the block next to your foot. 1, strong legs, keep pressing down through the feet and pulling into the lower belly. 3, gazing up towards the left fingers. 4, 5. Inhale, come up with the strength of your legs, pull the lower belly in, and pivot the feet. So now your right toes come in, and your left toes move out. Inhale, arms out to the side. Exhale, reach forward with the left arm. Bring the hand down to the left leg and slide it down till you can no more. And then hold it there. Try not to dump the weight into the leg. Instead, hold yourself up with the strength through the torso, gazing up towards the right hand with the strength through the legs. 3, rolling the shoulders away from the ears. 4, pressing down through the feet. 5, inhale, come up with control. Good. Pivot around, and now you're going to face the back of your mat. So this is Trikonasana B, the twisting version of triangle pose. So before we go into it, I want to make sure that we're setting up properly, so that we can find the right entry point into this posture. So your feet are in the same position as A, except the left toes might be a little bit more turned in. This is going to help us access the squaring of the hips. So you want to square both hips pointing towards the back of the mat, both shoulders pointing towards the back of the mat. If this is really hard for you to get to, you can move the left foot out to the side a little bit. So now your 2 feet are on 2 lines. Yeah? So the left foot is a little bit more out to the left. And the left toes are pointing forward. So really try to find that squaring position, moving the left hip forward and the right hip back. Exhale, the left hand is going to come to the outside of the right foot. I'm going to point forward, so maybe that's a little bit easier for you to see. Outside of the right foot, you can come to the fingertips, or if you can't reach the floor without bending the front knee, you can bring the hand to the shin or to the foot. Actually, it's probably a little bit better. If you have a block, this is a really good opportunity to use a block. You put the hand on the block instead. So once you have that hand down on something, you're going to press down through the hand and reach the right arm up, opening through the chest to find the twist through the spine. Let's take 3 more breaths here. 1, remember the hand can be on the foot. 2, 3. Exhale, look down. Inhale, come all the way out of it. And then pivot around to the front of your mat. Okay. This is a hard one because you're really challenging your sense of proprioception, which is the sense of where you are in space. So it's hard to kind of know where the hips are, where to look to balance. So finding a drishti point is really important. If you can't look all the way up to the hand, reaching up, look out to the side and find something to gaze on. So square the hips, both shoulders pointing towards the front. Exhale, bring the right hand down to the outside of the foot, onto a block, or onto the hand. Pressing down through the hand, opening through the chest and reaching the chest up towards the ceiling, twisting through the spine, and then gazing up towards the left hand. 2, good. 3, deep breaths. 4, press down through the feet. 5, exhale, gaze down. Inhale, come all the way up. Exhale into Samastitihi. Good. How are you guys doing? Okay, there's a question which I'll answer when we get down to the floor. Let's go into Prasarita Padottanasana. Inhale, step the right foot back. You're going to face the side of your mat, feet parallel to each other, hands to your hips. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, fold forward. You're going to bring the hands to the floor, onto the mat, in between the feet. Inhale, look up and lengthen. You can bend the knees if you need to. Exhale, fold forward, and as close as you can, get the top of the head towards the mat. If the palms are flat, you can start to walk the hands back. 1, And move the elbows towards each other as the elbows bend. 3, remember legs are strong. Feel your connection to the ground. 4, 5, inhale, look up and lengthen, exhale there. Inhale, come all the way up, exhale at the top. Okay, we're gonna come into C, so we're skipping around a little bit with the Ashtanga Yoga standing postures. Inhale, reach the arms out to the side. Exhale, interlace the fingers behind the back. Inhale, straighten the arms as much as you can. Exhale, fold forward and allow your hands to move away from the hips, rolling the shoulders forward, relaxing the neck. 1, 2, 3, 4, steady, slow, deep breaths. 5, inhale, come all the way up. Exhale, back into Samastitihi. Okay, let's come into a balancing posture. Uttita Hasta Padangustasana. So you're going to bring the left hand to your hip. Shift the weight over onto the left leg, really stabilizing the foundation, strong left leg, and then pick up the right leg. So you have 2 options. You can either just grab onto the knee, or you can grab onto the big toe and see how straight can you get that leg. Hold it. 1, find a juicy point, something that's not moving. It can be in front of you or it can be the big toe. 3, 4, 5. Slowly bring the leg out to the side, externally rotating into the right hip. 1, and then changing your jersey here, gazing over the left shoulder. 3, pull the lower belly in. 4, relax the shoulders, relaxing any unnecessary tension. 5, inhale, bring it back to the center. Stay focused, calm mind, both hands to your hips, and then straighten your right leg. 1, hold the leg out in space. 2, 3, stabilizing the breath, deepening the breath. 4, 5, exhale. Good. It's another hard one. You can shake it out. Okay, other side. Strong right leg, shifting the weight into the right foot, right hand to your hip. Slowly bring the left leg up, checking in with your foundation, grabbing the knee, grabbing the big toe, and straightening the leg as much as you can. 1, focus on the breath, moving in and out through the nose, deepening into the rib cage. 3, holding in the lower belly. 4, 5. Slowly bring it out to the side. You're externally rotating into the hip. 1, if you can, you straighten the leg. 2, gazing over the right shoulder. 3, remember we're coming in and out of the center line, coming back into a state of balance. 4, 5, slowly shift your gaze forward and bring the leg back to the center. Let go of the foot, both hands to your hips. 1, even if the leg is shaking. 2, 3, deep, steady breaths. 4, 5, exhale. Good. Shake it out. Okay, come to the top of the mat. Inhale, bring the arms over your head. Exhale, fold forward, long spine, and relax the back muscles and the neck. Inhale into half lift. Remember, bend the knees if you need to. Exhale, step back into a plank position. And lower down to Chaturanga Dandasana, hovering or coming all the way. Inhale into upward facing dog. Exhale into downward facing dog. Okay. Inhale. We're going to jump through to seated. So this is how you jump through. You bring one foot forward to the top of the foot. And you want to get that foot as close as you can to the hands. And then you're going to bring the other foot top of the foot on the floor. So you don't want to come to the balls of the feet because then you'll get stuck. So top of the feet on the floor. So you're pointing the feet and you're crossing the shins. And then you can lower the hips and send the legs through. I'm going to show you that again from the front so you get a better view of it. So 3 important pieces to jumping through. Come to the top of the foot, cross at the shins, don't cross at the thighs or cross at the knees, cross at the shins, so the lower part of your leg. That's number 2. And number 3 is you want to get the knees in between the arms. So the knees are coming in as close as the thighs are coming in as close as they can to the chest, and the knees are in between the arms. Okay, so I'm going to show you that again from downward facing dog. You bring one foot forward, top of the foot, chest and thighs touching as much as possible. Cross the shins, knees in between the arms, and then you lower the hips. And then from there, the legs can easily come through to the seated position. Okay, that takes a lot of practice. And of course, there's always a version that's a little bit more difficult than that to keep you progressing forward. But we'll just keep it there for now. Let's come into Dandasana. So the legs are straight. If you feel like it's really hard to find straight legs here and a straight spine, then sit on top of something, some blankets or pillows to elevate the hips and give the pelvis a little bit more space to tilt forward in this forward bend. Actually, we're not forward folding just yet. So the feet are flexed, the feet are touching, the legs are engaged. Find your sit bones. You want to be right on top of the sit bones and pull in through the lower belly. So you lift up through the center of the chest. So you feel like the entire rib cage is kind of like lifting and being supported by a strong core. Bring the hands next to your hips. If you have really long arms or a really short torso, you can bend the elbows a little bit. You want to roll the shoulders down the back and tuck the chin down towards the chest. We'll take 5 deep breaths here. 1, really finding that expansion and contraction through the rib cage. 2, strong legs, engage through the quads. 3, 4, 5. Okay, Paschimottanasana. Inhale. You're gonna fold into the hip joints. Reach the chest forward, and we're not grounding the back just yet. So keep the spine really long as much as you can. And if you can only bring the hands next to the legs, that's okay. If you can catch the big toes, catch the big toes. Keep reaching the chest forward and take a deep breath in. And now as you exhale, you can relax the muscles along the back and come into a gentle rounded back to come into the forward fold. Nothing too intense, keeping the spine as long as you can. And then at that limit of lengthening the spine, then you gently round the back to finish the forward fold by relaxing the muscles along the back. And then you can relax the neck and gaze at the tip of the nose. 1, keep the legs strong, engaging through the quads. 2, keep the feet touching. 3, notice if you're holding any unnecessary tension in the shoulders. 4, 5. Inhale, look up and lengthen, find that lengthening. Exhale, release. Okay, we're gonna come into Purvottanasana, into reverse tabletop or reverse plank. So I'm gonna show the reverse plank version. You're gonna bend the knees and plant the feet in front of your hips. Exhale, bring the hands behind the hips, about 6 inches to a foot behind the hips. Roll the shoulders forward, so you don't want to pinch the shoulder blades together in this position. This is a little bit harder to figure out and find how to get the shoulders in the right position, but it's important to help us access the upper back. Roll the shoulders forward. So you're internally rotating through the shoulder rotation, which is a little bit more of an advanced concept, so don't worry if you don't know what I'm talking about. Okay, we're gonna lift the hips up into a reverse tabletop. Make sure the knees don't split out to the side. Keep the knees in towards the center. Inhale, lift the hips, roll the shoulders forward, and drop the head back if it feels okay on the neck. 1, keep the knees in towards each other. 2, deep breaths. 3, 4, 5. Exhale, lower the hips down and release the posture. Okay. Now let's come into a vinyasa. So you're gonna cross the shins, put the feet down, and you're gonna roll over the ankles, bring the hands in front to make your way into a plank position. If it's hard for you to roll over the ankles, you can also just swing the legs around one side of you. And then we'll all meet in the plank position. Inhale. Lower the knees if you need to. Exhale. Inhale into upward facing dog. Exhale into downward facing dog. Okay, inhale. Try that jump through. 1 foot forward, top of the foot. The other foot forward, top of the foot. Cross the shins. Thighs close to your chest. Knees in between the arms, lower the hips, and send the legs through. So I'm sure, as you can see, that transition of jumping back and jumping through, for a few reasons, it kind of resets the body after posture. And it helps us to build a lot of strength in the upper body and in the core. So really pulling the lower belly and finding that pelvic floor activation through those transitions helps to really build up that strength for future more advanced postures, and just to keep getting us through the practice. Okay, we're gonna do Janu Shirshasana A. So you're gonna bend the right knee and bring the knee out to the side, okay? So the right foot, you can see it better if I'm like this. The bottom of the right foot is touching the inside of the left thigh. You're gonna square the shoulders over the left leg. Inhale, start to fold forward with a straight spine. Lengthen through the spine, pull the lower belly in, and then exhale, folds over the left leg. So if you feel any pressure in the knee, prop it up with something, put a bolster, cushions, whatever you have lying around the house to hold the knee up if you feel any pressure or pain in the knee joints. Folding forward, hands on the side or catching the foot. 3, stay there, I'm gonna check for a question that just came in. 4, 5, inhale, look up, exhale, release. Okay, and straighten the right leg, once the other side, bend the left knee, let the knee go out to the side, bottom of the left foot is touching the inside of the right thigh. Again, put something underneath the knee if you feel any pressure in the knee joints. Square the shoulders over the right leg, take a deep breath in, find the length, find a straight spine, find the limit here, and then exhale at that limit, start to round the back by relaxing the muscles along the spine and fold over the right leg. The hands can be on the side, keep the right leg strong, or you can catch onto the right foot. 1, pull the lower belly and keep squaring the shoulders so the shoulders are even over the right leg. 2, 3, good. 4, 5, inhale, look up, exhale there, good. Okay, we're gonna take a vinyasa and we're gonna focus a little bit on back bends because there's a couple questions that came through about back bending. So come back, we're gonna take a vinyasa, but we're gonna stop at upward facing dog. You're gonna cross the shins, inhale, make your way into a plank. Exhale, Chaturanga Dandasana, come all the way down to the floor. And let's stop here in Sphinx position. So you're gonna prop the chest up and bring the elbows underneath the shoulders. We're gonna stay here for a little bit and just kind of dissect back bending in this more passive back bend. So your shoulders are over your elbows. If this is too much pressure in the lower back, you can move the elbows forward. Okay. So first thing, you want to press the top of the feet down into the floor and lift the kneecaps and engage through the quads. Okay, and then out from here, you want to create length through the front side of the body. by dragging the elbows back and reaching the rib cage forward. Reach the chest forward. So you start to come into this into the paradigm of back bending being more of a front body stretch. So sometimes I wish that back bends were called forward stretches, because that's what you're doing. You're stretching the front side of the body to create space through each vertebrae and avoid that compression between each vertebrae. So we're stretching the front side of the body so that the spine can bend in that way, but the bend comes comfortably by finding more length through the front body. So we're stretching through the front of the hips and through the front of the chest and reaching the chest and the rib cage up and back. Good. You can kind of use your elbows to find that leverage, to find that pull forward. So you drag your elbows back and you reach your chest forward. Good. And then to make it more active, you lift the kneecaps, engage through the legs, and pull the lower belly in and press the shoulders down. Okay, take a break. You can put your head on the floor and just take a second here, because I know that's really tiring. Now in a second, we're gonna translate that into upward facing dog. And in upward facing dog, I want you to find that same stretching through the front side of the body. So sometimes a lot of people feel it in the front of the hips because we have really tight psoas muscles, but the front of the hips is a really important place to access the back bend by stretching into the front of the hips. So in downward facing dog, I want you to focus in two places. I want you to focus on the hips, relaxing the front of the hips, relaxing and moving down towards the floor. So allow the hips to drop down towards the floor so that the front of the hips feel that stretch. And the second place I want you to focus is in the upper back. I want you to reach the chest and the rib cage up and forward. So you have these two parts of the body, the hips and the chest and the rib cage, moving away from each other, right? Because the hips are moving down towards the ground and the chest and the rib cage are moving up and forward, and that creates that front body stretch for back bending, okay? So bring your hands, replace your elbows with your hands underneath the shoulders, and you're gonna straighten the arms, and for now you can relax the thighs onto the floor. So you don't have to lift the thighs and make this super active. And feel the hips dropping down into the ground, press the shoulders down, and reach the chest up and forward. So this is hard, it's hard work, it's really active. And then if you want, you can lift the thighs, keep dropping the hips down towards the floor, and reaching the chest up and forward. Get that front body stretch as the hips move away from the rib cage, and the rib cage moves away from the hips. Okay, come back into tabletop, and then back into downward facing dog. Okay, you can stay there, and I'm gonna talk a little bit more. So in back bending, when our arms are underneath the shoulders, and I'm throwing a lot of information at you guys right now, so if you're a little bit overwhelmed, don't worry about it. Just take what you can take, and next time you take a little bit more, and that's how we continue to learn about this practice. But so when you're back bending and the arms are underneath the shoulders come into a slight internal rotation. So for simplicity's sake, let's just boil that down to, that means that we're not pinching the shoulder blades together, okay? So avoid that pinching together of the shoulder blades when the arms are below the shoulders in a back bending position. So that means the shoulders are slightly internally rotating. So in upward facing dog, you don't want to pinch the shoulder blades. Roll the shoulders forward a little bit without collapsing into the front of the chest. So without allowing the collarbones to collapse forward. So you keep this open, but you slightly internally rotate the shoulders. Super precise and super difficult to find. Okay, so now let's go back into Purvottanasana, that back bending, that reverse tabletop position. So your feet are in front of you, and you're bringing the hands in forward, in back of you. So you're gonna roll the shoulders forward. So somebody mentioned that it's hard for them to lift the chest and keep the shoulders forward, that the only way they feel they can get up is by pinching the shoulder blades back, which is totally normal, and that's okay. That just means there's a little bit of tightness in the upper spine. So the reason we don't want to pinch the shoulder blades back when we have the arms below the shoulders and back bending is because that blocks the access into the upper back. So you want to create that space in the upper back so that the rib cage can kind of participate in the back bend, and we can bend into the upper back to participate into the back bend. So we'll just try it. So from here, you don't have to go up. Roll the shoulders forward and lift the chest up. So this is just this by itself is a hard position to access. Shoulders are forward, internally rotating through the arms, through the shoulders, and lifting the chest. And then you keep that position as you lift the chest up and drop the head back. Good. And then exhale, come down. Let's come down to our backs. We'll finish off with back bending. You can plant the feet in front of the hips. Bring the hands to the floor. Good. Check in with your feet. Make sure your feet are pointing forward and the feet are a little bit wider than hip width apart. So they're just on the outside edge of the hips. And then toes are pointing forward and knees are pointing forward. So don't allow the knees to splay out throughout the back bend. Keep the knees in towards the center. Palms down on the floor. We'll take a simple bridge. Inhale, lift the hips up. 1. Good. So you're popping the chest up. You can shrug the shoulders underneath. 2. The legs are strong and you're lifting the hips up, stretching through the front of the hips. 4. 5. Exhale, come down. Good. We're going to do one more like that. Inhale, lift up. I'm just going to check in. Good. Okay, good. Thanks, Kristen. I'm glad that helped. Come back up into bridge. 1, 2. If you want, you can catch the ankles too. 3, or you can interlace the fingers. 4. Remember, the rib cage is moving away from the hips. Find that front body stretch. 5. Exhale, come down. Okay, so you can do that bridge pose again, or you can find the full wheel pose. I'm going to show you the full wheel pose, but feel free to do the bridge pose again. So you're going to bring the arms over your head and bring the hands next to your ears. So the hands are shoulder width apart, fingertips pointing in towards the shoulders. So already this is a hard position to access with the shoulders. You need some flexibility within the rotator cuff in order to access this. So remember, just stop where you are and work there. So if this is where you need to stop, then this is where you need to stop. Next step, press into the feet, make sure the feet are in the right position, and come to the top of the head. Fix the hands, elbows in towards each other, and then inhale, start to straighten the arms. Elbows in, elbows in, elbows in. 1, and you start to press into the feet and gently straighten the legs. 2, deep breaths. Remember, rib cage is moving away from the hips, lifting the hips up, feeling that stretch throughout the entire front side of the body. And 5, exhale, come all the way down. Bring the knees to the chest. Good. It takes a lot of years of practice to build up into Urdhva So be patient with yourself and just work where you are. So find your limit and work there, because then that's eventually your limit's gonna be pushed a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more, and then you'll just go to where you need to be. So there's work to be done at every step of the process of the position, which what makes doing this practice really interesting. It's not like we're working up towards one single expression. We're working at each step throughout the process of a posture. So there's work to be done at every single step of accessing a posture. And it's just your job to figure out where in that process your work needs to be done. Yeah? Okay, inhale. You can rock up. And let me just check the time. Okay, all right. Let's finish. Let's close off the practice. Come to a comfortable seated position. Good. You're going to wrap the arms behind the back. Grab onto opposite elbows and take a deep breath in. Exhale, fold forward and bring the forehead or the chin towards the mat. If it isn't touched, that's okay. 1, steady breathing. 2, relax the neck. 3, 4, come up. Bring the shoulders over the hips. Release the elbows and bring the wrist towards the knees. Pointer towards the thumb. So same as in Dandasana. Find a long spine. Lift through the center of the chest and tuck the chin down. 1. Finding that one pointed focus of the breath moving in and out through the nose. 2. Pulling in the lower belly. 3. 4. 5. Long spine. 5 more breaths. 6. Steady breathing. 7. If the mind wandered, bring the attention back to the breath. 8. 9. 10. One last posture. Upluti. Cross the shins and bring the knees in close towards the chest. I'm going to face the side. I think it's easier to see it this way. So you're going to bring the hands in front of the hips, behind the feet. And you're going to shift the weight forward, press into the hands, and the shoulders are going to come forward and the hips are going to move back and up. 1, lift the hips up. 2, strong shoulders, press down through the shoulders. 3, knees in towards the chest. 4, don't come down. 5, 6, 7, lift one foot. 8, 9, lift both feet. 10, exhale, come down. Good. And you can release the legs and make your way into Shavasana, final resting pose. You lay down on your back. And the arms can be slightly away from the body, palms facing up. The legs a little bit wider than the hips, or wherever it feels comfortable. Wherever you feel like you can just completely relax and completely let go of the practice, of your efforts for the past hour. And just surrender into the mat. Allowing the breath to be natural once again. And the breath spontaneously moves in and out through the nostrils. Relaxing the whole body. Feeling into the body. Feeling the support from the ground. Feel the ground holding and supporting the body. As you completely relax, completely surrender into the support. Full body relaxation. If you're ready to come out of it, you can start to deepen the breath. If you want to stay longer, feel free to. Stay here as long as you need to. If not, you can start to deepen the breath. Making small movements with the body, in the fingers and in the toes. Rock the head side to side. Good. Bending the elbows, bringing the knees into the chest. And whenever you're ready, you can make your way onto the side and then back up into a seated position. Good. Into a comfortable seated position. Take your time. When you get there, you can bring the hands to the knees, gently close the eyes. Taking one last moment here of turning the attention inwards and feeling into the body and observing the breath. Observing this pathway into our inner world. Settling into the stillness and finding comfort there. Bring the palms to heart center. We'll close our practice with an Om. You can join me or you can just listen. Take a deep breath in through the nose. Namaste. Good. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Today's a really special day. I don't know if you guys know, but it's International Yoga Day. So you started off on this special day on the right track. We do yoga, but every day is yoga day. So practice every day, not just today. Thank you so much for being here. I really love to share this practice. So thank you for giving me that opportunity and for being interested in what I have to share. I learned so much from teaching and from you guys and from your questions and just from your feedback. So thank you so much for being here. And so today, since it's International Yoga Day, I wanted to direct some donations to Yoga Gives Back, which is an organization that focuses on giving back to the birthplace of India. So we know India gave us this amazing teaching, and we just showing our gratitude for that, and acknowledging that we have yoga because of India. So just helping India as much as we can, helping the people of India, helping the culture of India. So Yoga Gives Back is an organization that's really focused on doing that. They're an amazing organization with really pure intentions. So I left the link to them in the description of this video. So feel free to send them donations if you have the means, if you're willing to. And if you want to keep practicing with me, I will be here every Sunday at 10. So I would love to keep seeing you, or you seeing me since I can't see you. But if you do want me to see you and give you some more specific instructions, I also teach on Zoom through Miami Life Center. We have a special where the first 30 days is for $30. So if you want to practice with me on Zoom or with any of our other amazing teachers, you can also find that information in the description of this video. And I think that's it for now. If you're in Miami, I'm teaching Mysore style at Miami Life Center, limited capacity with a lot of hygienic and cleaning protocols. So if you're in Miami and you want to practice in person, which has been super fun, this is going to be our second week of doing that, you can reach out to me and get more information. Cool. Let me see if there are any questions that have come in. Oh, cool. That's so good to hear. Your Surya Namaskara, but you got better. Good. Okay, I'm glad Tabletop. Okay, I'm glad that helped, Samantha. That's a tricky concept to understand in the body, but just keep trying to bring the awareness there, and one day it'll click. Yeah, and you try it out for yourself. Experiment. Like, see if the shoulders forward feels better, if the shoulders back feels better. Like, try it out for yourself, and evaluate yourself. What feels like gives you more space? What feels like gives you more comfort in the back bend? Cool. Thank you so much. Thank you, guys. Thank you for being here. I'll be here next Sunday. Cool. And if you have any questions that come up after this, feel free to message me on Instagram or just wherever you can get a hold of me. Instagram is usually a good place. I included it in this description too. So you have a way to get contact with me. All right. Thank you, guys. I'm going to sign off. Enjoy International Yoga Day. Yay.